Good evening, everybody. And today it is June 19th in the year 2023. This is a voice of Agrode. You are watching a Splinterlands town hall. I'm the founder, I'm the CEO, and it's always my pleasure to come here and talk with some of the team, talk with some of the community, and kind of go over what we're doing. Um, in the what you have seen is that we've switched over to a bi-weekly meeting, so there's not quite as much that we are releasing every week or talking about the stuff that we're doing. It seems like 2 weeks is a slightly better pace. We're hoping to start sharing with the community, or just having like an open way for the community to hang out with us in the near future, where it's still hosted and it's still broadcast, but it's less of Splinterlands talking to you and you guys sharing your opinions about the game with each other using the platform that this company has built. We think that that's a great way for you guys to be able to go talk about your experience, share your experience, the things that are important to you or not, or specifically the things that you would like to thwart that others are doing within the community. Um, and it just feels like a really wonderful opportunity for us all to get together and to have a broader conversation than a presentation. So hopefully we'll be getting that going shortly soon. We have a pretty standard town hall team for you this evening. Let's go to the what do I even call these things? To the team stand up, and let's go have let's let the guys just kind of share what they're going through. So in the order that it appears, I see Nate, I see Weirdbeard, I see Gator, and I see Manser. So why don't we go in that order? Nate, can you tell us what you'll be talking about this evening?
Oh, crap. That's a good question. Probably, what have we been working on? I think we've been working on SPS and League and staking and delegating and things of that nature. Of course, we'll probably touch on land too, but yeah, lots of fun stuff.
Okay. And then Weirdbeard, you, sir.
Hello. Today I'm talking about a new addition to the SPS for CP swap. And then we also have some fun stuff of just general updates of what we're doing on the enhancements team.
Gator, I hear there might be some release. Maybe there's something that you would share about said release.
Yep, that's pretty much why I'm here. Yeah, talk about the release tomorrow, maybe touch on what we put out last week, and we'll see. Maybe we'll talk about what we're doing in the future if Weirdbeard doesn't cover that in his section.
Okay, and then last but not least, we're joined by Manser. Manser, maybe you could just give us like a 2-second of who you are, and then also what you're planning on talking about this evening.
Howdy, folks. I'm one of the main feature devs on Splinterlands, and I'll be talking about the Guild Power release, how that went, and also giving a bit of a heads up on what to expect when the 5-year anniversary burn event ends in about 10 days or so.
Rock on. All right, well, that's the team. That's what we're doing. So why don't we go head on first and talk to Gator. Investi, I don't know. Are you Investi or are you Gator? Do you care?
Not really. It's kind of funny. The handle just ended up getting carried over into work, but either's fine. So do you want to go back to what we did last week, since we didn't really have a town hall?
Yeah, catch us up. What are you got? First off, our humble friend investigator here is one of the guys that helps lead the ops team, which is basically what, like, whenever we make any changes, it always goes through ops. So that's part of the reason why he's always presenting here. So you are free to talk some about, generally what is the ops team working on, and then also just specifically when we're getting into the releases, we have some pretty big things coming up. So I don't know, walk us through what's on your brain and what's on your list.
Okay, well, this was already publicly posted, but last week we rolled out the Guild Points update, which Cryptomancer did. So you can spend all those guild points you got from burning your DEC during the 5th anniversary event. Guild power, sorry. I'm being corrected. We also are starting to make some... So a lot of the stuff that's coming out is kind of being worked on by the ops/database team. The enhancement team has some bigger long-term projects that they're rolling along with, so there's not really frequent updates. So some of the other stuff we rolled out was that the cards history API now shows all the combinations of cards that happen to that card. We fixed an issue with the new player workflow where it was incorrectly directing people to the burn event rather than to the buy a spellbook page, which was a little confusing.
Welcome to the game. Start burning stuff.
Fixed a couple little bugs. Some of the anytime tournament prizes were being shown as a multi-token transfer in your currency activity instead of a tournament prize, so they're now being labeled correctly. We also added some more information onto the cards themselves. We added the mint date and transaction. We're trying to make cards a little more informative, a little more easy to track the important blockchain activity on them. So going forward from last week, any new cards that were minted will have a transaction and mint date, which if you go to our cards find API, you can see those. And our database team has been back populating all the old cards. So we're trying to add more info into different places that we think would be useful for people. And those were the main things. There was a minor typo that we fixed on the tower defense Soulkeep page. And there's some back-end performance improvements. Looking ahead till tomorrow, there's a couple gameplay updates. So a number of people have reported some issues with problems with buffs and debuffs, where there would be like a +2 buff and a -1 debuff, and it would wipe out the entire buff incorrectly. So that should be fixed, which I believe is also a Cryptomancer change. We are also fixing, so the way rewards carry over from the previous season, we had made changes so that if you skip seasons, it doesn't drop your rating, but we were still looking at literally the previous season. So if you didn't play, it would drop you to bronze. After talking with Matt, that wasn't really his intention. He wants people to be able to take a break and just carry over, basically as if they had, their last play season would carry over. So the season reward chests should now carry over from the last time you played, even if you skip some seasons fully. We are doing a pretty big back-end overhaul of the market code. So this has been an ongoing ops project. We basically have been using 4 different caching systems for parts of the market. We ripped out one a couple weeks ago. This rips out basically 2 more. Should basically be invisible to the user. It should hopefully be faster. The main thing that you might notice is there's now going to be a set 1 minute before the main page of the card market updates. So basically we rebuild what's on the market every minute. It happens on the back end. Users won't really see a difference. Probably going to be more accurate than the caching system because we were also running a bunch of separate services to try to keep the cache up to date. There's a lot of extra processing. We cut about 1/3 of the market code out, probably more. That was just to handle that. So it should be a lot more streamlined. While we were doing that, so a few weeks ago, there was an issue where collection power was off for a number of people. We found that it was off again for some people and found 2 places that could cause that, which we are going to be fixing tomorrow. We're going to do a recalculation of people's collection power to make sure it's right. And hopefully we didn't miss any other spots where it's not working right. But if we did, we'll take a look and fix it going forward. Another thing we are doing with adding more information onto cards is something that one of our third parties asked for a while back. We will also be adding the last sale value and last sale token onto the card info. So you'll be able to see what that card sold for last time it was sold. This is also going to be, it'll be blank for all historical cards, start populating tomorrow, and then we may go back and backfill in data as a separate project after this update. Those are pretty much the main things going out. There was a couple things that we did clean up in the data. We've been doing a bunch of audits, and as part of that, we found a bunch of alpha, beta, and old promo cards that way back when the game first came out, cards were getting minted before the packs were opened. So we had pre-minted a bunch of cards that when we switched to the current system, which it's been for a number of years, where the cards get generated when you open the packs, it just kind of disconnected those cards from being in packs. They were just sitting in the database, not owned by anyone. So we have gotten rid of them, which should fix the circulating supply numbers on those cards, which has dropped them. So they are rarer than people thought they were.
Probably a nice find. Like, oh, sweet. This how many cards do you think it was that we nuked?
I actually had the numbers. It was like 11,000, I think.
All right. I mean, back in the
Yeah.
day, that's a meaningful number of cards. It's a partial percentage or something.
I might be off by a little bit, but it was a decent amount of cards. When we were trying to find out where to populate the mint dates, it's like these cards were were not given to anybody. But
All right. Well, good to get them out of there and have it reflect more reality. I mean, this is it's pretty awesome to have the professional team now that we have that we didn't have, in like 2018 and 2019. It's like, Matt and Cryptomancer just kind of asking each other questions. Now there's like a whole dev squad that is there to help us.
yeah, there's also a lot of stuff that was done in like with the market stuff. 2021 during the last bull market where the game was basically just on fire and people were doing stuff to like get the servers running. We're going to spin up a bunch of extra caching systems just to make sure things work. Deal with now
Just
we're dealing
get
with
it
later.
done.
Yeah, going through and cleaning things up that could have been done a lot cheaper, a lot more effectively. There's also some performance updates on the database side, which again, people probably aren't going to notice. It's going to be things that would take, a second to run, now take a couple milliseconds. Adding up everyone querying us at the same time, huge database performance improvement. But to the individual user, you don't really notice the difference between, we return this even faster than it was before, but it's not noticeable.
Oh, as per usual, that's a lot of just on the just on the ops side. It's nice that there's somebody that's here that's like focused on the servers, cleaning up what we've done in the past, making this stuff as scalable as possible, and a lot of thanks to the ops team for the way that you guys pull it all together. Anything else you want to add here, Gator? Are we good?
I guess I should note, I did say a couple times now that we would be releasing a vNext tech modernization update for the collection page. It was apparently decided that we're going to bundle that with the market and release them both at once, which is why it hasn't come out and is not scheduled to come out tomorrow. Hopefully that will be done soon because they're very similar pages, but so they are working their way through the market, and then they're going to release both pages over to the tech modernization side at the same time. And then maybe they'll get to the battle page, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. I mean, for the guys that are sitting there saying when mobile, this is all part of modernizing the code so that we can have a nice mobile. So that's not the only reason that we're doing it, but it's one of the big ones. And so every time that you hear tech modernization, somewhere in your brain you should hear, oh, they're working on the mobile app. I know there's nothing visual in the mobile app that will make you think that, but that's what this process is. Okay. I think that's good for now. Gator, thanks for being here. Thanks for being awesome. And I don't know, the hard work seems like it's gonna hit you soon. So some of these big ones are on their way. So let's go. Man, where am I? Ron, help. Oh, we're gonna go to Cryptomancer next. So let's bring the answer on here. Let's go do a little bit of words with Withers. And so where in the world are you? And what in the world are you doing? And then what are some of the things that you're working on?
Hello, everyone. So I'd like to start just by talking about guild power a little bit. So we had the guild power release last week, and that went very smooth. So I'm not going to rehash the whole thing because we have a nice big announcement post that has all the details. So if you haven't read that post yet, I would urge you to do so. It's got lots of good information in there. And if you go to the guilds page now and look at the building screen, you will see instead of contributing DEC or DECB, you now contribute guild power to your buildings. And it works the same way it did before, just with guild power instead of DEC and DECB. You use that to level up your buildings. And you can exchange DEC or DECB to get guild power. It's a one-to-one exchange. Guild power is another soul-bound token like DECB. The big crucial difference, the thing that makes this so new and interesting, is that when you leave your guild, or if you get kicked out, assuming you did not donate all your guild power to the guild, you'll get 90% of it back. And then you can use that again when you move to a new guild. So we hope this will encourage people to spend their guild power a bit more freely to level up those buildings. And in the future, this is going to tie in pretty heavily with the new buildings as well. In the future, you might be able to even contribute more guild power than your buildings can take. You can over-contribute guild power, and that might do some special things for you. So don't worry about having too much guild power. That might actually come in handy at some future date. And of course, this means that you can use the guild power that you've got from the 5-year anniversary burn event, since that was handed out at the time you did your burns. So I'm pretty happy to see that whole system go live, and that was a very smooth release.
That's great.
And as far as what's happening next, so I haven't really moved on to a new big project yet. I'm kind of in between at the moment now that guild power is done. I'm stepping back from development work a little bit and just to focus more on the project planning side for the time being. So I've been working on putting together some new spec documents for a new big project that we might be working on in the next age of development, hopefully. The idea is we want to try and get all of our ducks in a row before we're ready to actually start working on a new project. So we know exactly what we need to do and how that's going to affect various back-end and front-end components. And so also, so the creative team has more time in advance to plan things out as well. So I'm focusing on project planning for a little bit before I dive back into the thick of development again.
And you're traveling some, right?
Yeah, that's right. So in the month of July and August, I'm probably going to be spending some time in Malaysia, visiting some people over there and looking after some land that I have over there, some real life land. So I'll be doing a bit of traveling, but it'll be kind of a working vacation as well. So I'm going to have my laptop with me, and I'll still be doing some Splinterlands work while I'm gone.
I can't wait to ask you about comparing your digital land ownership to your physical land ownership experience, being like, tell me about managing either of these. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's going to be an interesting thing actually to compare. Hopefully, being a digital land baron will work out pretty well when Land 1.5 goes live.
yeah. So I Cryptomancer's underselling the way that he's helping over here. In the years that I've worked with him, which I think is like 2019 to present, because we've been doing this for a while now, bud. It's amazed me, just sort of the way that he breaks projects down of like, what are the various components, how much do we have to do, what part needs to get done, what are the unit tests, what are the pieces to complete, and he's very thorough, and when he puts out code, the damn thing works, typically the very first time that you get it out there. And so we're trying to rely on that skill set to be able to go break down some of the cool and larger projects that we're working on, and trying to see what is this experience going to look like. So that's what we're counting on Mancer for. And while he's doing a bit of the travel life and a bit of the other things, it can be tough to like really just set up a standard dev environment and work through just that. But hopefully you're going to be able to get some development done. And specifically, I think it seems likely that your next big project is more guild stuff. Is that what you're thinking too, or is that what?
Yep, I anticipate that will probably be the case. We have a lot more big guild updates planned. Guild power was only kind of the very beginning of a lot of major revamps we want to do to the guild system. And I expect I'll continue to be involved with that, since I'm kind of like one of the main guys who's been developing guilds as we go along.
Yeah, that's my understanding too. So, this is not walking away from guilds. This is really just like, hey, the guild power is necessary to really get, one, a little bit of fairness, but two, set us up for the next set of pieces that we want to do. And I imagine that Mancer, when he is a little bit less of where's Waldo, or where in the world is Carmen Cryptomancer, it'll be a little bit easier to just focus on the actual development. So it'll be a little bit wonky for a bit while he traverses the earth, but he's going to be helping us on a bunch of these other projects to help really nail down, using the experience he has and the kind of skill set that he brings, to say, what are the pieces that we need to complete? What's the order that we should do them? What are the tests that have to be done to ensure that it's done correctly? And I'm excited to see some of that, like tech planning in advance of the projects that we're doing, done by you, and hopefully we can spread that practice far and wide within the org to make this to make the actual development of these things as disciplined as possible and as well prepared as possible. So thanks for your work on that, Mancer.
Thanks, Aggie. Yeah, I definitely think being prepared is key for a lot of the big projects we want to do. I'd also like to point out my travels don't start till late July, so I am still fully around for another month or so before that starts happening.
Okay.
And
that's good to know. I thought that was a little sooner, but great.
And there's one more thing I want to talk about. What's going to happen with the 5-year anniversary burn event coming up. So that ends in about 10 days. And I'm sure everybody is wondering what's going to happen with prizes after that. How do we actually get the prizes? So they are not going to be automatically distributed as soon as the event ends. It'll be similar to like a card airdrop, where you have to go in and actually claim your prize. So after the event ends, there's going to be a claim button appearing on the burn screen, and you can go in there and click claim, and you'll get your prizes. And when you do that, you'll get your titles and your leaderboard prizes, and also the prizes from the raffle. Now, another thing people might be wondering is, well, there's a lot more raffle chances, I guess you could say, than there are actual prizes. So is there going to be like some push and shove? Do you have to claim fast before the prizes run out? And I want to assure everyone that that is not the case. You don't have to hurry to claim your prizes. So when the event ends, some data from the blockchain will be used to determine what all the various prizes are for everybody that participated in the event. That means that your prizes will be determined then, and then you just go in and you claim your prizes whenever you want. So you can claim the next day, you can claim in a few days, you can take your time and wait. The order of the claiming doesn't matter at all. So there's absolutely no need to rush and panic about that. You can claim whenever it's convenient for you to do so. So that's that. Just wanted to set everyone's expectations and make sure that people knew how that's going to work.
Cool. Awesome. All right, Manser. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate your the years that we've worked together. I appreciate the things that you put together, and excited to see the next set of tech docs that are coming to help the other devs, and then further getting the next iteration of guild stuff into game. Should be pretty awesome.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
All right, let's go bring on Weirdbeard, and let's go figure out. Hey, Weirdbeard, what are you working on? What are you doing? And when's stuff gonna happen? I think those are the big questions that people are gonna want to know.
Well, we're working on a lot. Quite a few things that are all sort of juggling at the same time. I would say the main things that I will continue to highlight that we have as our priorities are the CP for SPS staking swap, as well as land 1.5. Those are the main do or die if that's what's going to happen. We also have removing bots from Modern, which was a player proposal that passed a while ago, and we put together our essentially escalation policy and how we're going to be able to put that in, and removing them from certain places of competition is also making its way. The one big thing that I did want to kind of mention that we haven't talked about yet is what we're going to be doing and adding in for the CP for SPS staking swap, where we're actually also going to be releasing in conjunction with it an SPS rental market. So people are going to be able to rent SPS to be able to then stake and be able to earn the rewards on, which I think is pretty dope. It's additional little things like that that are making the projects that we're putting out feel more whole and less like, hey, let's just do this one little thing. And that's why I think these longer release cycles are really going to start benefiting us.
So can you so let's dive into CP staking and the rental market. Where are we at, and what were the big pieces that we need to put together, and kind of what's still left to do?
So, I mean, the biggest progress that we've made so far has been with the SPS rental market. That's one of the things that it required more creative input than anything else off rip. So we've had a lot of progress with that so far. That's about a little over halfway done as of right now, and we also have some pretty decent progress that we've made on the actual ranked side swap. But that's a little bit different only because it's less about implementing and more about how do we communicate it to players so that they know what they're earning, why they're earning, and what they can do to earn more. That's a lot of the kind of UX concerns that have to go along with it.
Yeah, I guess we should say if you're not if you're not checking in on these things regularly, let's break it down as if there's might be a new person listening. So can you explain what is collection power? What is this new SPS staking requirement, and how do those things relate?
Yeah, so CP or collection power is a bit of an older, almost we've evolved out of collection power. It was first introduced as a mechanic to hopefully be able to tell how strong somebody's deck was. Each card had a specific collection power amount, and the more rare or powerful cards that you had, the better it was because you were able to say oh well, this person has a huge deck, and that's why it's good that they have those cards. Well, the thing is, again, it didn't really do what we wanted it to do. So we're now going to be phasing it out, as was originally stated in the white paper, which is the thing that lays out like how everything in the game works and why it works that way. For SPS staking, SPS is our main token, and the thing that we want players to have the most. So what they're going to have to do to be able to, it's not that it stops you from earning, it helps you earn more the more you stake. So what you want to do is when you have a bunch of SPS, you're able to actually, put that up, stake it, and earn more from playing the games that you're already playing. One of the other things, like I said, an SPS rental market. So not only are you able to stake SPS that you own, you're going to be able to rent SPS from other people and then be able to stake that and get more rewards because you're renting SPS from those people.
We moved some things around to get that SPS delegation market in place before we release things. What's the importance of that? Why did we, it might even delay land a little bit. Why did we put this in rather than skip it? What's the main advantage of having that rental market live?
I think the biggest thing is, when we first started talking about swapping over to having the SPS staking requirements, or not requirements, but like bonuses essentially in ranked play, a lot of people were concerned about how it would impact brand new players, people just coming into the game, first time there. They're not going to have a ton of SPS, and they don't want to be like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? Well, this makes it so that you're able to build your own collection of SPS and stake it, while also going out and being able to fill bids as you play, right? Like you don't need a billion SPS to start with. Maybe you only need, a small amount to be able to stake and earn decent rewards in bronze. And so we wanted to make it so that all players had access at some way to be able to access that SPS and not be gated out of stuff.
All right. The main question that everyone's going to ask is a 3-letter question. When?
When?
WEN. When? What's your thought on timing? Is that what do you think is most likely here?
I would say that, we're looking in July for it. And again, we had originally thought that we were just going to be doing the ranked swap in for CP. But after saying like, no, we need the rental market to be able to also be there. Because again, it didn't make sense to launch without that. So it's probably, extended it a good 2-3 weeks from where we were, because again, one of the biggest things that when I say like, hey, we need to focus in and we only have land 1.5 and the CP for SPS staking swap, those are 2 things. But that's like the development team. We also have a creative team that has many, many, many more irons in the fire than we have. And so, like we're making sure that they have time to be able to get this stuff out, and then we go and make it. So it's going to be a little bit longer. But we hope to get that all live here coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we got so 2 weeks. Tomorrow is the end of a sprint.
Yep.
And 2 weeks for them is 4th of July weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So probably going to be a little bit wonky around that. But I don't know. You think it's in that like first week or 2 of July?
I have to meet back up with our developer Antioch, who's doing this specific project. So I wouldn't want to commit to that weekend, but it's definitely earlier in July than I would say later. A lot of it, again, just kind of depends on what we're able to get out the door and how many of our creative resources I get to bogart from Nate.
Fair enough. All right. So then we also have this land thing. That's the other priority that we have, I guess. Anything you want to describe or kind of update us about for land? Is it paused? Is nothing happening? Is where are we at in terms of getting that done? What percentage do you think we are to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not paused. I can tell you that much. Hardpoint and Neil are working quite hard on making sure that we get all the stuff out that we need to. Here, let me actually pull up my notes so I can give actual things. Again, for people that maybe who are tuning in for the very first time, when we talk about land 1.5, what does land in 1.5 entail? It entails asset staking, plot clearing, resource production, market and bridging, meaning you should be able to take your cards and stake them on land. You should be able to clear those plots and get them ready to be able to create resources on it. The resource production, which are, hey, if you own land, whether it's occupied, whether it's magical, whether it's all those different things, be able to produce that and feed the workers on the plotted land. And the market and bridging, meaning like, hey, you need to be able to buy grain, sell grain, trade grain, get the resources and accumulate them. Like that's our definition of what land 1.5 is. Um, one of the big things that was a win that we were able to develop is we have the entire project, soup to nuts, planned out, which is huge. Like a project of this size, it's really hard to get your arms around it sometimes. And in the past, we sort of gone in half cocked and been like, hey, we're 60% of the way planned. Let's figure out the other 40% of the way. And this time we were like, nah, it's not happening. We need to know exactly what we're doing and what we're committing to. And so Lane 1.5 is moving along. I think the big thing that we're waiting on is making sure that we're able to give a really polished, put together version of everything, so that it's not just developers hacking it together themselves, right? Like we want to have Nate and his team's deft touch on land, so that people have a good idea of what's going on, because it's not a complicated system in the sense that you need a degree to understand what's going on with land, but like you want to make sure it's understandable, right? Like a lot of this is making it so that people can come in and look at it and know what's going on, which is a whole human it's a human project in and of itself to understand it.
Okay, so we have it all mapped out. I guess where are we? Like, are we still, just starting this? Is it well developed? Where do you think we are just in terms of its development and what we still have to crank out of here?
I would say that we're probably sitting around halfway done, honestly, and that's because a lot of the back end stuff has been, uh, like accomplished. I will say that it was funny. Hardpoint posted in the land channel internally the other day, being like, You can't see it, but I did it. I staked the thing. I staked a card. It's here." So like the staking is live and the function of it, which was a whole it's a blockchain process, right? It's not easy to be able to get that done. So he's staking cards on the land, and we have it to where player or internally, like you can navigate to a lot of the different things. The next step is really getting that creative, like I said, polish and elbow grease to be able to get stuff through.
Yeah, I got to watch him demo that, and so it's still like, this is when we talk about front end versus back end, that this is exactly what we're describing.
Yeah.
So like it works on the back end, and the way that you can do it is you can like literally deliver custom JSON messages, and if you format them correctly, the
Yeah.
game will respond.
Like
So
he was
like,
like, "Look, it has a lock icon," and you're like, "Yeah, cool, awesome."
yeah, but it's like, it's also, you literally have to know enough code to
Yeah.
either look at what he's done and literally submit a transaction to the blockchain using some of the tools that do it. Like that is not the new user experience that we want.
Yeah.
Go post directly to the chain, homeboy, format it yourself. So that's what it looks like on the back end when you get these things started, and it's awesome. And literally you can like see it happening with block explorers and all the things that we nerd out about. But not we got to make it so that everybody can sort of not need computer science college courses to be able to interact with our game. So you need to be able to come in here, interface with the game, hit your keychain, do the thing, and never even know that code happened in the background.
Yeah.
Um,
So like there's a lot of work on it. We're also, we have 3 devs essentially, 2.5. One of them does like a lot of our front end stuff. So in between, like he'll do land front end, and then when there's no, like he has time in between land implementation, he jumps over and does some of our vNext tech modernization stuff. You heard Investigator talking about doing the market and collection screens, so those are going forward, and we're going to start really digging into the battle stuff too, which is like a whole thing, but it needs to be done. We need to get in there and get that code moved over. And so that's the stuff he's also working on in addition.
And that's like a beast, right? Like the battle engine is not like, sit down and just crank it out in an afternoon. That's a project in and of itself.
Yeah, because it's not just the battle screen, right? Like it's team selection stuff. It's the like finding a match modal. It's how you see the results afterwards, and like all these different little things that you wouldn't think. You go, oh yeah, that does. Oh yeah, that screen too. Oh wait, it also touches this one. Um, and while we're going through there, we're able to like fix some small problems and issues and bugs we find along the way. Like in the collections, one of the things that really annoyed me. So we have this great, awesome music, right? And it would play when you look at your entire collection. But then if you click on an individual card, the music would stop. And then you'd go back to the entire collection and the music would start again. And it was like, oh, that is just a, a pet peeve. And so we're able to fix that, like, little things as we go along that aren't necessarily like they're not game changing, right? They're not mind blowing that we're going through and doing that. But it's like one of the things we've really been trying to do is go through and clear out our backlog of like tickets and stuff that we've been saying, hey, somebody should do that for a year and a half now. And just going through and being like, all right, you get this one today, you do this one. So you do a little bit every single day. And then hopefully over the next couple of months, we can look back and be like, damn, we've knocked out like a ton of these bugs. Like there's one game engine bug that we just fixed to where I don't know if I talked about this in the last one, but it was like the person that was submitting the ticket always played with BizKitty, and so it would apply a speed buff, and then if you got a speed debuff, it would essentially cancel out the buff entirely. So like if you got a +3 buff and a -2 debuff, should be +1, right? 3 minus 2 equals 1. Um, but it would just instead be -2 instead totally. So we've solved little battle engine stuff like that as we've gone along the way too. Which again, it's not super sexy, but in between all these larger projects, like the larger projects are already a ton to get done. So the fact that we're able to get some of these bugs here and there is like a big win on the board.
Okay, so what's next for land? Like if we want to get this thing out and we're at 50%, what are the big next challenges or the big pieces that are still left to kind of crank our way through?
Front end, man. Like it's creative. It's Nate has talked about it for a year and change. Having one UX person is bollocks. It's tough. It is a suck situation. And anything that we can do to get him on there, because it's when again, we talk about illusion of work all the time to where you can say you're working on 30 things, but really work's only getting done on, one or two major things. And so creative has all this other stuff. We've got we haven't even touched on tower defense. We haven't touched on GLX and gameplay that was just demoed the other week. Where we haven't touched on, oh hey, we just dropped in this SPS rental market, right? All these different things take UX and time to be able to do. And so it's a matter of we either need to clone our boy Roy or like put him in the hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball Z so that he can get in some 300 years of UX design in a 2-week period. But it's chewing through. It sucks, but like that's the realistic answer.
Um, okay. I guess we're here. I think you mentioned tower defense.
Yeah.
What status is that project at?
I can give a sexy kind of answer. So, like, we are looking at hosting internal testing and QA overviews this week, which is dope because that means that's like final polish, make sure nothing's broken, click through stuff, and like it's
See if it
live.
works.
Yeah, it's a thing. Like, it doesn't turn on. So I mean, it's way closer than I think people anticipate. And while obviously QA always sort of like makes things scary because you can find something that's super broken. We're anticipating the QA process should go pretty smoothly, so that means that we should be able to lock in and commit to like an official release date very very soon.
Cool. Yeah. So So like players, the employees can like play the game and do all the things. Does that include like opening cards and packs? And are the towers still a mystery, or what? Like is it done and we're just testing the final pieces? Like what?
Well, this game is not final. Like, hey, it goes out. We're never doing anything with it again. There's still plenty of roadmap afterwards of things that need to be added to even meet up to like the stuff that we said are going to be in there. So we need to make sure to understand that like it's going to go out. It's a function game. People do get to go out and play the chapters, play with towers, do all the stuff. But you know, I would never tell somebody, oh yeah, it's done. It doesn't need to be finished, right? Like game development doesn't work like that anymore. You don't put out uh, you know, StarCraft, and then that's it. You just don't do anything until a DLC. Um, you know, so I really think that it'll be good though. But with a QA testing, we have our support team come in, and they're literally looking to break the game. They're looking for ways to make things as for the dumbest player possible. Like they all try to put themselves in the like President Camacho role and see what they can do to make it not work as intended.
Um, yeah, that sounds like it's almost here.
Yeah.
So we gotta do some last internal testing. Internal testing is not, make new software code. It's make sure that the things work. But it sounds like that's something that we're gonna get live here in the pretty near future. Is it safe to say that sometime in July?
Yeah, I would feel safe saying that.
I mean, there's only like 10 or 11 more days of June, so I doubt that it's going to make that. And we got the 4th of July weekend to deal with, but it sounds like we can really do that, get that out there in July, which would be amazing.
Yeah, and I will say, like, Cryptomancer kind of talked about it earlier, but having him work on spec work and like we get technical work and stuff done, oh, it's good. It feels good to get like you can look at these projects that we're in, but that's like flying above the clouds. I think you said it on a call with me the other day. It's like in the Matrix where they just go above the clouds for 1 second and they go from like the hellscape that is the Matrix and they see the sun. They're just like, oh, and then you go back down under. That's how it is sometimes with this land stuff to where I get to talk to Cryptomancer and we're like, hey, let's talk about really cool stuff. And we do it and we work through the stuff. And then I'm like, oh, I feel so good. And then we go back to land and be like, all right, we got to power
back in the thick of it,
Back
back
in
in
the
like
thick
the
of
World
it.
War I dev bunkers.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. We have I guess we should mention a little bit about the burn event. I know that Manser talked about it some, but just he was giving us some perspective on what happens afterwards. You want to just give some perspective on what is happening with it, and just thoughts on it in general, or any updates you need to give?
Yeah, I mean, like the quick overview is as of yesterday, $432,000 worth of deck and deck B was burned. And at least 100 players have burned a minimum of 1 million DEC or DECB, which is like good, right? Like yeah, I would consider this event a pretty strong success. Some people have said that hey, maybe it shouldn't have gone on as long as it does. Because again, a majority of this was burned over the first like 3-4 days or so. But I just want to reiterate, I really like the depreciation or technically a bonus mechanic that we put in there, right? Like the earlier you burn stuff, the more bonus points that you sort of get and whatnot. I like it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was, a better way than allowing people to just snipe stuff on the leaderboard at the very, very last second and everything like that.
Yeah, I know. We like that design. We like that. You'll probably see that again at some point as we think through other things that we do, like first minute sniping, not last minute sniping.
Yeah.
So, in the various projects that we do, we'll keep taking some portion of the rewards, not for us to keep, but for us to give away in various promotions at various stages of the business. And yeah, this kind of stuff and this kind of way that we're doing it, I think is something that you should expect there.
Yeah, and one other thing I do want to make mention that we are making pretty solid progress. Like I mentioned, I think up at top, the blocking the bots from the modern format. you know, making sure that we've talked about before about the kind of the complications that come along with it, that it's not just a, hey, flip the switch and bots aren't there anymore, right? Part of this has also been making sure that we build data backend to make sure that we're tracking and understanding how many bots are in places, and when we do certain things and add certain restrictions, how does it impact those people? You know, what's our number? What's our percentage of acceptable like slip through and error? And also, essentially, a lot of the things are terms of service updates are going to be coming, and that's to make it so that in the past the company has sort of been hands off of being like, well, we're going to make sure to have our hands up in the air. We don't want you doing it. We're going to make it tough, but if you do it, then so be it. Putting those terms of service updates in is codifying it and making it a deal. You know, if people do end up botting in modern, and you know, personally, I'd love to be able to see if it's a success, see it applied to tournaments and brawls as well.
Um, all right. The big question was asked in chat here by Josie. It's the 3-letter question every product owner dreads. You know, when do you think land is coming out? When land?
I mean, a lot of that is still undetermined, only because, like I said, one of the big kind of bottlenecks we're facing is that UX discovery period, and that's not something that I can say because we saw it in Wait, because there's multiple views within land 1.5, right? Like there's a region view, so you have to be able to drill down into the region, and then you have to be able to drill down into plot views, and then you have to be able to see plot collections. And when we were doing the region view, I think it was a month ago or so now that Creative had their hands on it. What started as like, hey, I think we have a pretty solid idea of what this is going to be, quickly turned into like, oh my god, there's like 30 child screens in here, like little baby smaller screens that we didn't anticipate to begin with. I'm not saying that as like oh my god, it's be afraid, there's going to be so much more work that we don't know about. We have a good we I told you we planned out everything that goes into land 1.5. But Creative drives the boat, right? Like we follow their lead on how fast they're able to get those things through. Because again, it's that UX perspective is so important to making things usable. Like just because you have a car that goes fast, if you don't understand how to drive it, it's a useless car. So with land especially, players have to understand it. So you cannot like just barrel through and have hardpoint design how the screens are going out and looking. You know, so I can't commit on a date because I'm still at the whims and mercies of the ever powerful Nate.
Okay. Um, well, when we get a chance to talk to Nate, we can sort of start fleshing out just how much is left and try to get some ideas on, you know, what does that entail with the team that we have and the limited resources that we have, and
Mhm.
try to figure out, you know, is there dates that we can put on that material? I guess it, you know, to allay some fears, if you don't have creative, does that mean that like Farpatrod and Hardpoint are just like uh playing Diablo 4 and hanging out?
I can
Or
tell you Hardpoint would love to be playing Diablo 4 all day. That's probably how he started every stand up for the past since it released, is talking about how he plays a barb and I play a necromancer, and you know, I really like the open map. But no, like they have lots of work they're still chugging through, but all the planning that we did is with the creative handoff. You can reverse engineer it. There's still plenty of back end stuff that we're working on. Like I said, we just got actual staking of cards on the land plots done without, you know, having that front end available for it yet. So there's plenty of work to be done. It's just that things work better when you know how it's going to look and what the player journey is supposed to be, as opposed to just like, well, we'll wing it, and then creative comes back and says, nope, I want you to do it this way, and then they have to redo a whole bunch of work. So like it just saves time when we get creative earlier and earlier.
okay.
It's don't be afraid. There's no afraid here. It's just like time is a limited resource, right? Like as hard as you want to develop something, putting 10 bakers on a cake doesn't make it bake faster. We're
You didn't even do the real one, which is you can't get 9 women pregnant for 1 month to make a baby.
True. Like, so, we're going through it. We know what the stuff is. We know what we're doing. It's just making progress and chewing through it and not making it a crap product. Like, that's the biggest thing. I hope when you hear this, it's a conversation more about, hey, we're not trying to rush it and we're not trying to make it where we just skip creative's input on making it a good product. Like, it's important that we get that stuff right. And so maybe that's why it takes a little bit longer for Nate and the team to cook up something special.
Okay. Anything else that we need to get out here for this section?
No, like I said, we're looking ahead to try to plan. Like, we're trying to do the stuff we're committed to, and then start putting it on paper of what else we're trying to do. And I will just say that as always, we're looking to try to be able to bring in fun and exciting, like updates and changes to the game that really get players excited. So I'm excited as well.
Rock on. All right, let's go hop over to Splinterlands TV, and we can see what's going on with Summoner Summer. So thanks to Weirdbeard and Ron. How the hell you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty great. I mean, things have been going awesome on Summoner Summer. I was a little bit worried. There's with these giveaways, there's always some concerns, right? Are we giving away enough prizes? Are we giving away too many prizes? Are all the great prizes going to be taken up, and like nothing's going to be left for the end? And right now things are going absolutely perfectly. I think this week alone we've given away like 3 or 4 gold foil legendary summoners. We've given away a llama,
Damn.
a kitty. Yeah, I see it. I see you over there. Are you okay, Yag? I mean, I know I didn't clear it with you first before we started giving away all this stuff, but you
Well,
looked
it
a
was
little
in the
uncomfortable in
giveaway
your chair.
account. No, it's good. It's for the best. I mean, this is honestly, it's good to go see the summoners are very valuable cards, and right now it's a giant slump in the market. So if I have to think about when and whom do I want some of the most valuable cards in the game going to, it's going to be I would say the players that are engaging with our ecosystem at the lowest point in the market. That's who I want to be rewarding. And so if we're giving away gold foil Byzantine kitties and we're giving away gold foil llamas, like, honestly, these are the times and these are the people where I think that's the most appropriate.
Absolutely, yeah. These are the people that are sticking it out with us. They're coming and hanging out on the streams day after day, and yeah, we still do have a gold foil Byzantine kitty up for grabs. That's still out in the wild, so it's anybody's game right now. But yeah, I mean, in the meantime, even if you don't win that, there's been a lot, and I mean a lot of good cards. Like $200, $100 cards being dropped every day almost, it seems. So yeah, like it's been pretty fantastic. If you guys just go to the clip of the week channel over there on Splinterlands TV, pretty much anytime a big card gets given away, there's at least one, if not multiple clips being posted in there. And you could just scroll through that channel and see, oh, here's a llama, here's a Yoden, here's a gold foil summoner, here's a gold foil this and that. And like, I mean, just on and on. It's everywhere. And it makes my job harder because I got to pick the winner of clip of the week.
Brutal. All right, we got some shout outs here. There's something like 50. So when we went from 1 week to 2 weeks, we doubled the number of people. And there's just a ton of folks. So Momo, you started off with like a brutal name here. Momon Gajal, I don't know how to say that. SC Father, Mr. Asian Heart, Skiringe, Vruz did nothing wrong. I always like saying that. What was he even accused of? But Bida Akko, Bozena, Crypto Militia Gaming, Shiki Phantom, Alvany 91, Obi Phenom, Brazen Blake, Known for Knowledge, Jojo, Kira, Solving Chaos, Obi Phenom. That's like 5 there's a couple of these guys that drop like 5 at a time. So Obi Phenom, that's like just a ton of watching in our community. So thanks for being such a strong participant here. Walk the Grid, Aslo Carls, Hala Vodka, Dr. Calabason, Mango Mayhem, coming strong from the Philippines. Shiloh, Makey, Splinterlands, Big Barger, Kraken Jr., Odie Tam, Ja Believer, Holos, nice Holozor, nice to see you. Thanks for running a show. Sip Gazda, Obi Phenom again. That's 6. That's like, that just represents so many hours of doing this.
That's actually 7, but yeah.
It's 7. Sorry. We got Larkin, and another one. We got Hewitt. That's 5 for Hewitt.
You missed
these
the
guys are
Paro.
just watching hours and hours of shows. So kudos to you guys, and many thanks. Bronco NR, Yoko Sama, Ank 12, Frozen Turin, Maman Gujal, which was the very first one, Big Barger and Big Barger.
You
So,
missed
like,
a Paro 82.
Who did I miss?
Paro,
Paro 82. Sorry, Paro. I meant no offense. So, yeah, that's 50 names. It's like 40 people, maybe 35, and just seeing like the guys spit out 5 or 6 of the shout outs. I mean, that's hours. That's hours of watching. So thank you.
Yeah.
I guess we have 2 clips of the week. Is that right, Ron?
We absolutely do. And the first clip of the week, we have somebody who's been trying to up their game in brawls, right? And it's hard because you only get so many packs. You only get to open up so many cards, and then you can't even buy anymore. So you're just kind of left with what you do, with what you have. But this time their luck swang around, and they got something good. Wait,
Let's see it.
So, good luck on this Gladius case. Gold foil Abado, nice one. Legendary. Take care. Gold foil legendary. Congrats sa Malalat. Bye guys, bye-bye.
I didn't.
There we go.
I didn't zoom in. Which legendary did they get?
Oh, I can't remember the name of the card. It's the
I'll just run it again.
So,
That was a
good luck
fast
on
one. I need to
this
see what that
Gladius
was. Now I'm
Gold
zoomed
foil
in.
Abado, nice one. Legendary.
Well, I still can't read the
Take
names.
care. Gold foil legendary. Congrats
it's
sa
the
Malalat.
Flanglin
Bye guys,
Rennie.
bye-bye.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, that'll keep you busy.
Yeah. Now, speaking of opening pack, so here's the thing. This week it was so that was for the last week. That was for clip of the week of June 12th. Now we're on the clip of the week for June 19th. And man, I mean, like honestly, there's just been so many cards that have been given away. And I really do actually like this. One of the things I kind of want to show you guys these because it's been it's been such a blessing for the community. It's been such a great reward for you guys out there watching Splinterlands TV, and I kind of want to show it off. But Kraken Jr., he was opening some packs. Now he got a hold of some Rift Watchers packs, and you don't really see too many of those being opened anymore. It seems like kind of taking a break a little bit or something. But he went ahead and got himself one. And holy cow, did he get himself a pack. Now I'm going to let you. Yeah, he had to turn on his voice effects for this pack.
A guaranteed one, but during the airdrop, I got one ancient rare. Let's see what this one is. A Runemancer
Nice.
Rory. This is a nice card. Very nice. 2 types of attack. If I don't sell it, this is going to be very useful on my secondary account. And the last one. Another Runemancer, Kai. Wow, nice. Very nice cards.
Yeah, 3 legendaries is a nice freaking haul.
And one pack. I mean, how often? What's the chances of that? I think we need to get Matt in here to give us some odds.
Yeah. Low, very
Yeah.
low. That's probably like 1 in 100,000 or something.
But anyway, he had a great pack, and congratulations to Kraken Jr. Congratulations to Kira for winning Clip of the Week.
Okay. So we're going to be back in 2 weeks. Are we doing our community stuff next week, Ron?
Yes, we are. I put a link in the chat earlier at the start of this. I can grab the link again. So it is next week at 9 a.m.
Okay. So do you want to just share anything about that? Do the community need to prepare anything, or what is that going to look like?
Well, I mean, if they do prepare, I would say to go find some proposals that you like, find proposals you don't like, read them and understand them. Like the different things in the community that are contentious or need to be addressed, or stuff that we want to have planned for the future. This is your night. Splinterlands as a company isn't there to present new features and tell you about what our release notes are going to be and what we're going to have coming up. We're not going to be doing any of that. This is us facilitating a conversation for the Splinterlands community itself. And so you guys, because you guys are the DAO, you guys, all stakeholders are the people who control the DAO. And honestly, the DAO probably isn't being utilized as much as it probably should. Is that fair to say? I know it's kind of my opinion, but
I don't know. It's up to the community to decide what's enough or not. And
right.
it's not up to me. I'm not CEO of the DAO. So you guys are the ones that determine, what is it that you want out of it? What is it that you don't want out of it? What should it be working on? That's not my baby. I'm a community member and I have things that I care about and think the DAO ought to be doing, but it's not, I'm not CEO of the DAO. So, this is not Splinterlands dictating to the players next week at this sort of community event, hey, this is what we want to do. We're just hosting a conversation. We're just letting you guys tell us what's important to you. And even more important than telling us is telling each other. Like sometimes people will like hit me up in DMs or at me in a chat or something and be like, Aggie, make this happen for the DAO. And again, I'm not CEO of the DAO. You shouldn't be talking to me. You should be talking to other community members and gathering your support from them.
And that's what this is all about. Yeah, this is facilitating that conversation, making sure it happens. And it will be happening here in Discord. But we also will be streaming it. So, if you guys you can't make it there at that time, you can watch the replay later on YouTube. But
right.
yeah, the community conversation will be happening in Discord. Make sure you have your mics working. If you want to talk, you can use the test feature in the voice and video settings of Discord. Then that make sure that it all happens smoothly, so you can say your piece and have your voice heard.
Okay, rock on. Thanks so much, Ron. Thanks for keeping the lights on for Splinterlands TV, and kudos to all the streamers and all the viewers. You guys are surviving the bear market. We're going to do it as a community, and appreciate everybody that's hanging out with each other. That's what makes this community so awesome.
Thanks.
All right, let's go get Nate on here and let's go do ourselves a creative update. And all right, Nate. Well, we have a little bit of a bottleneck with creative. So maybe there's some things that you want to talk about of like what are we doing for land? How are we getting that out? What are the big pieces that are still like what are the challenges and obstacles that we're facing, and how do we crank them out? And then let's switch over after like some discussion on land in general. What are some of the things that we have made that we can show off the players and just show them, when we do this is what these things will look like, and give players a sense of, hey, it might take a while, but this stuff is worth the wait. Can you share some of your experience trying to crank this stuff out for the various teams?
Wow, that's a lot. but I'll try. I'm tempted. I just watched the latest Flash movie. I'm tempted to talk like this, like Michael Keaton Batman. But I won't. Land. All right, let's dig into land. So I know it's funny because you just asked about you're like the player, you're like the community. I want everyone on the stream to realize that Agrod is a huge, he wants the same thing you guys want. You guys say win land. I get to hear from Agrod every week. Win land. he's there pushing and saying we need it now, just like everyone watching this is probably saying we need it now. So it's definitely any delays is not because Agrod's just not interested in land. That's far from the case. The good news is yeah, we got a lot of balls in the air, and yes, creative has always been the bandwidth continues to be the bottleneck. And that's just by virtue of creative is just it's a different beast. Engineering, you have all these devs, and sure, some are back end devs and some are front end devs, but essentially there's a lot of overlap in their proficiencies. Meaning, you talk to one dev and they might know the same computer languages and coding principles and whatnot as the dev next to them, and sometimes they could swap in and out, and call tag me in, man, and you jump in and they kind of take over because they understand coding, and computer logic, and they can kind of interface in that way. Creative is a little bit different in that, yes, creative might take up let's say half the company or something, but we have very specific skill sets. I have an environmental artist. I have a character artist. I have a animator. I have sound effects. I have music. I have a narrative. I have, and in like we discussed earlier, UX design, UI design. And I can't just tell someone in multimedia to just run off into UI design, just like won't tell the UI designer to go make environment art. So it's definitely more potential for bottlenecks on the creative side because we have such a wide myriad, such a wide variety of different skill sets. However, I will say that in terms of what we're talking about right now, which is land, it's coming. It's not, obviously it won't come in the next week, but I know we're pushing hard to try to get everything finalized and figured out over the next few weeks if possible. I know that's what you want, Aggie. We're trying very hard to get engineering everything that they need. And it's going to be basically a game of not hot potato, but basically as soon as one screen's done, there you go. And a dev's going to catch it and he's going to start doing the front end. And then while he's doing that, we're working on another one. Here you go. And luckily we got 3 land devs. So we don't have to wait for the first guy to finish coding. A second guy will be like, oh, I got it. And they'll be running off. So I'm optimistic. I'm confident. I like what I'm seeing so far. I dig it. I think it's going to be fun. What we're focusing right now over the next few weeks is going to be claiming. How do you claim this stuff, right? Right now with 1.5, you could be claiming research, SPS. What's the other one? Grain. So one of those 3 things. So how will that work? It's not just a simple button push and I claimed it. There's going to be, well, do you have enough energy to fuel these manifestations, these workers? Do you have enough grain to feed them? Do you have all these calculations need to be presented in a user-friendly way so that not only do you know how much you're getting, but how much you're spending, and does it make sense to you? There's the plot view. Where you see that overview of your plot that kind of already exists in the game. You can go down to that ground level, but there's going to be a lot more to see. So you're going to be able to see, hopefully what I'd love to see myself personally is whether it happens at 1.5 or not, at least by 2.0, I'd like to see that Zillow experience. I'd like to see it to where it mimics the real world. When you're looking for real estate, you want to find that neighborhood that you love, and that you see what the community like, what's the neighborhood like, and what kind of achievements are they unlocking, or what kind of leaderboard, what's their ranking in terms of research. And you're going to find that right now it's kind of like you probably sort the plots by, well, what's the cheapest one I can get? Oh, there's one for $40. I'm grabbing it. And you don't even look at what the region is. You don't look at what community members are in that neighborhood. You don't worry about that stuff right now. But I could see a day to where that stuff will matter. And all plots will, all common jungles will not be the same. You'll be judging them by different standards. And so we're kind of paving the way for that. Slot management, that's the tricky one. That's the one that kind of keeps me up at night right now, is when you go in and swap your workers out or choose your workers for the first time. What does that experience look like? It won't be quite the same as let's say a team building screen when you're preparing for battle, because ultimately, you don't need to know their abilities or their specific stats, right? There's certain information you're going to want to know. And when you're trying to juggle, let's say hundreds or thousands of level 1 or level 2 cards, or it's not like if you have a kobold miner, but you got like 100 of them and they're all different levels, and you're trying to figure out which one should go in that slot. Like, those are the challenges of UX, right? Like, how do we do this in a way to where the person who owns 2 plots, we meet their needs, but we're also meeting the needs of the person who owns like 2,000 plots? And how would they want to do this? And how can we make that easy and intuitive and all the rest? So that's a big challenge. And then the bulk actions, which I just touched upon. Bulk actions, I don't know. I'd love to see some bulk actions in 1.5, but at the end of the day, that might be one of those things we just need to cut because it's not critical. But we'll see what we could squeeze in there, right? Other things, I know we have a meeting, I think this week, Aggie, to discuss like how can we get land out sooner? How can we get it out faster? So we're going to have to make some tough calls. We'll be like, okay, what's a tough call? Rooney. Like in 1.5 white paper, Rooney has all this functionality and ability. It could do this and it could do that. 6 slots, 5 worker slots, power source, whatever. So we're going to figure out like, okay, can we still get it in for 1.5? I hope so. I think so. Same thing with titles and the artifact totem slots. Like, look, like what constitutes an MVP, and what do the players want? Do they want us to wait until everything's done that's in the white paper, or are they okay with us releasing in phases so that we could hurry it up and get it out there? And I think I know the answer. I think people probably would prefer, yeah, just give us what you got. But that may not necessarily be the case, and that's something we got to kind of have to discuss over the next week or two.
Yeah, land's a little trickier than normal, right? Because you have that whole clearing thing, and if like clearing doesn't start at the same time as other parts, it takes away some of like the race feature. So like normally I'd say, hey, just roll this thing out in whatever many phases as we need. This one is a little bit different because, if you phase your race, you kind of lower the stakes. So there's a balance there that we're trying to figure out and to maintain.
Yeah.
I mean, out of all the things that you've described, what do you think is the most daunting? Like what is the thing that's keeping you up at night being like, how the hell are we going to get all of this done in a timely manner? What's the thing that's freaking you out?
Yeah, it's definitely the slot management. The other stuff I feel like is I'm probably going to strategize this out so that, because I know Hardpoint and Farpatrod, and they're like, hey, give us something, Nate, give us anything, whatever you got. Let's go. So I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to, a lot of you guys might have the same strategy. When you have a to-do list, sometimes you want to just knock out the quick and easy, the low-hanging fruit stuff first. Just get it out there, get it in your rearview mirror, get that sense of accomplishment, start building up some momentum. So we might use a similar strategy here, where just take the easy stuff, let's go, and then and meanwhile, in parallel, we'll work through some of the challenges that the slot management system represents. But yeah, none of it is where I'm like just terrified that this isn't going to happen. Like, I mean, everyone hearing this should feel set your mind at ease. Don't worry. Yes, maybe there was a little bit of a delay, but the delay was a strategic choice. I mean, we had to take some resources and say, look, this is kind of like the example I just gave with the to-do list. We have this SPS. Let's get that into the hands of the players, the staking and the league changes. And that's really going to help the economy. That's really going to be a benefit to the players and to the company, and we could get it done way quicker than finishing up Land 1.5. Why don't we do that? And then we say, well, crap, what would help support that would be the SPS delegation market. And we're looking at that. We had to make some tough choices, and not everyone in the community will agree on whether we made the right choice or the wrong choice. But what I will say is that in the manner of just one sprint, in the past sprint, I mean, we did a lot to support that, and it didn't take that long, but we were able to bring to bear the power of creative and get the devs what they needed so that they could run off and get this stuff done. And now we're, refocusing back on land now, and we're like, okay, that didn't take too long. It was a blip. I mean, crap, we had to delay land a little bit, but I think it'll be worth it. I think once people have it and it's live on the website, they're going to say, yeah, this was worth it. And of course, there's people who are going to have salt and say, no, you should have just stayed on land. But you make some hard choices along the way. You do what you got to do, right? Just know that, guys, we love you. We love land. We're going to get it done. And I saw some Fat Jimmy posted just a little bit ago, and he's exactly right. What we're doing with 1.5 or even 2.0 or even 3.0, whatever it is, that's production gameplay. That's a new form of gameplay that is very unique to Splinterlands. For those of you who have been out there and say, hey, there's other blockchain games out there, right? And our window of opportunity is closing, and oh no, so some big AAA game studio is going to come in here and just swipe everything, and we're going to lose it all. I don't know, because I see the complexity under the hood. I see the 5 years of development that's taken place, and there is just so much under the hood right now. The other projects and games out there from the outside, the exterior of the car, they look very similar, but there's not a lot under their hood. It's kind of like the Fred Flintstones. They got their feet under the car and they're pushing their feet. And right now we're kind of going a little slow too, because we got so much work going on. But once we, get the mechanic out from under, slam the hood shut, and we're like behind the driver's wheel and we put the pedal to metal, man, I mean, I don't think you guys understand. Yeah, yes, the window of opportunity is closing, but I have a hard time believing that all these other studios and projects and companies are going to be able to just hit the ground running 0 to 60 like we're going to be able to do. So I want you guys to keep your heads up high. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot to be enthused about, because as all the pieces start coming together, we're that much closer to letting the hood down and pushing the pedal. It's going to be cool. And bring it full loop to my point. My point was that 1.5, or what this production gameplay represents, is just a little sliver of land. And land essentially is this world building, right? And the world building is us as a company or as the creative team creating the narrative and the stories and the characters and the languages and the factions and all this stuff, right? And we're basically creating this campaign world, and hopefully we'll be able to create all the tools necessary for other people to participate. So if we're not going fast enough, if creative is the bottleneck and we'll never stop being the bottleneck, well, that's the beauty of the DAO. Once we hand over the tools to the community, who knows what this ecosystem will blow up into, all the many game modes that people are going to think of, and all the different ways that this game is just going to just expand like crazy. So, I'm excited. I mean, I know that people have been like, wow, it's kind of like that meme where the guy's like poking a stick, like do something, right? Like some of you might feel that way about Splinterlands right now, but believe you me, there's stuff happening. It's just behind the curtain, and eventually we're gonna have a fun time.
All right, that's a good segue to there's stuff happening. You want to show some of the stuff that's happening, and like what have we built? What are we planning? Are there pieces of this that we can show off?
Yeah, let me see what I got here. We talked about the market. So to give you guys an example of, I was really blown away. In fact, Weird Bear just finished talking about Roy. Roy slammed it out of the park. That guy did a great job. He's our UX designer, and because Aggro challenged us with, hey, we don't want to delay land, so just get this delegation market stuff. Just take a few days, see what you could do. Go. and Roy picked up that challenge, and so he did a whole bunch. He did not only the UX, he did the UI as well. And part of the fruits of that labor. Here, I'll take a quick little cropped screenshot. So this is an example of renting staked SPS. So if you guys who are watching this now have staked SPS, and you'll be able to rent it out to whoever is doing a bid. And let's say I do a bid, maybe I need 100,000 SPS to earn what I want to earn in the league that I want to be in, right? But I feel like, wow, that's a lot to ask. I don't know if that bid will fill very quickly. The UI will allow you to split up your bid amongst a bunch of little bids. That way, you can get up and going and start getting those bids filled rather quickly. So here is a little bit of a crop screenshot showing how that would work. You have, here's how much I'm requesting. I'm requesting 50,000 SPS, but let's go ahead and split it into 5 chunks. So that one bid turns into 5 bids. And then once you submit it, then it shows up on the market as these little smaller bids of only 10,000 SPS. And you might have a lot of lenders out there who are like, oh yeah, I'll give you, I'll loan you 10,000 staked SPS for, I'll delegate that to you for a week. And then, everybody wins, the lender gets a passive income just by virtue of owning staked SPS. And then the bidder gets the benefit of earning more in the league that they're playing at, which is awesome. So that's something to be excited about. Let's see, what else are we working on? That leads into the other UX UI stuff that we're doing, which has to do with actually replacing collection power. So one of these days, hopefully soon, you're gonna go log in to the battle screen, the overview, and you see that big orange battle button. But instead of seeing collection power, you're going to see some other stuff. You might see, instead of collection power, it's like, oh, what's your reward boost is what you might see. And the art team did a great job of creating a little graphic to represent how well your boost is for that specific league that you're in. So here is some concept artwork just for fun, just to show you the type of little the icon that represents your boost for ranked play. And that boost, of course, represents how well you're earning for that particular league. What else we got here? I guess in conjunction with that, something that I've been excited about is trying to take some of the old artwork that we did like a year ago that never quite made it into the game because we just ran out of time. And then that was when we went to, we changed rank play into wild and modern format. And we were making all these chests and all these backgrounds and all these badges. Some of it made it in the game and some of it didn't. And I think there's a great opportunity where we might slide some of that stuff in. So for instance, some of you might have seen this in a little modal. I'm hoping to expand this out to a full screen experience. So you'll be able to see it a little bit better. But here's a wallpaper just to, celebrate the modern league. And then for those of you guys who prefer wild, here's a wallpaper that you'll eventually see in game pretty soon as background artwork to celebrate the champion level of the wild league. So I don't know, just for fun, just to say, hey, this is cool. I don't know. So that's what we've been working on.
Awesome. Well, Nate, you gotta keep it up. We gotta keep cranking this stuff out. Land is critical, and I know you guys are working on it. Excited to see your progress, and excited to see what we can crank through. Looking forward to meeting with all the team to say how do we get this out a little faster? What needs to happen to make that work? And let's see when let's see what kind of deadlines and kind of goals that we can give to the community and realistic timelines. Stuff that we're working on and a kind of thing also. I have 2 pages of questions that we got to get through. So let's go to questions. If we can crank these out, then hopefully we can do some user questions with the audience here. So for this part, it's just us. So starting right away, Bots are angry and are angry. Are Aggie and Matt still bot neutral? Lots of people blame the downtrend on bots extracting from the ecosystem. Does a company do any analysis or have any data supporting this statement? Yeah, I think bots are just a tool, and they can help or hurt ecosystems. They can help whales, absorb and use way more cards than they would ever need individually, but they can also extract resources. So the trick, and part of the problem is that even after we attempt bots in modern, we're going to see the efficacy. I have some concerns that we're not actually going to be able to stamp them out. And so we're going to spend a lot of time and effort stamping these things out, and it may not work. And that's because the more that you press on this, the more that the bots have to get clever to sort of hide themselves. And then it's this deep game of cat and mouse. And rather than play a deep game of cat and mouse, I'd rather just make the incentives such that the bot owners don't get massive advantages, which makes it harder for them to extract. So things like the SPS staking requirements are great. It's like, okay, well, you want to run 1 million bots? That's fine. Now you have to have SPS for 1 million accounts. Good luck with that. And if you do it, it's great. The players are going to be excited, but it can also be, how do you, I don't know. It's going to be a challenge for them to be able to extract a lot if the requirements are high for them. Validator nodes, can you give an update on licenses? Because it's been a long time since the last update. Yeah, we have the guy, Aurelian is really the lead on the validator side, and right to get employees on the GLX side of things. GLX is a smaller ecosystem. There's literally less that the validator has to do. So we're trying to get the private net up and running for GLX because it's simpler. So once that's up and running, it'll be either we get that out to the public or we get the SPS one running privately. But we're at, as far as I know, we're at the spot where we're basically getting this thing operational on a private net. And after we run it for a private net for a little bit, we'll start opening it up to the public. We want to make sure that there aren't like exploits that anybody can see or that are obvious. So we're going to run it internally and make sure that there's no shenanigans. But we're at the point where these things are going to start moving and looking live. Land plots that have both a power source and a Rooney will be able to have an extra worker card for a max of 6 workers instead of 5, which can provide a significant additional boost to production. Does this mean with a Rooney and a cord, you would have a Rooney and 6 other cards on a plot? People in chat said that the 6 card would be the Rooney, but that doesn't really make sense as it would already be a worker without buying a power core. Yeah, I would say if you have a Rooney and a power core, you have 6 cards, which includes the Rooney. So it's not a Rooney and 6 cards, it's a Rooney and 5 other cards. So you're upping your total from 5 to 6, not 5 to 7 per plot. Titles, will a prefix title stack with a normal title, or will the most dominant of the two take precedence? Example, Marshall username, the Explorer, would it be a 35% or a 25%? I gotta ask Matt that. I actually don't know. On land, it's only going to be 1 that you're able to use, but I think your math might be right here, where you get the 10% from the prefix and the 25% from the I don't think it's a postfix, but from both parts, I think you can still gain from both when you're doing ranked battles. Regulation, will we be safe from the evil SEC? I don't, there's no way I could ever answer yes or no. A lot of the guys, my first pass on that is that a lot of the companies and the tokens that were getting hammered did a big ICO and used the money from the ICO to develop the game. And the SEC said, if you're going to take this money and build the game, that's going to be problematic, and we're going to call that a security. Splinterlands itself did not actually do the token. There's a foundation that's a separate business that did the token, and there was already a game. We'd been a game in 2018, 2019, 2020, and we didn't launch the governance token until 2021. So at least from that one thing, it's always like reading tea leaves and trying to figure out what these government bodies are doing and why they're doing it. I can't tell you, and I'm not an attorney. It's different. We had a functioning game for 4 years before we put out, some kind of token. 18, 19, 20, and 21. So in our 4th year, we put out a token. So that's pretty different than what, some of the other ones did, where they ICO'd and then used that money to build the game. Does that mean we are safe from the evil SEC? No. But it does seem like our set of circumstances are pretty different than the guys that are that Gary is currently claiming are security tokens. Town hall schedule. Next town hall is due on the 3rd of July. Will this happen due to the 4th of July being a national holiday in the United States? Yeah, this is like, it's actually great, because then there's lots of people from the community that are free that can hang out and talk with us. So it's not a formal company one. It's me and Ron. I think maybe Weird Beer will. Oh, that's July 3rd. Oh, yeah, we probably have to do that. I don't know. I haven't. We probably have to do it because we have like SBS staking, which will hopefully be going live either that week or maybe next. So let's hang off and see what day SBS staking is going live, and then base the town hall around that. So it might be a little bit wonky with the 3rd and 4th of July and the holidays and stuff, and when we're rolling things out. So it's a little too close to call when things are going to go. So we'll talk about that soon. Soulkeep seems to be the furthest advanced compared to Land 1.5 and GLG. What are the issues holding back the release? Testing. We're now just at testing. Employees are going to go test it. We might open it up to Mavs or others, but now it's just testing. After the game releases, there's other things that we're going to add. I don't think that the rewards are going to go live on day one, just because we want to make sure that the public game launch goes smoothly before we start turning on rewards and adding that complexity to it. But that is a high priority afterwards. But yeah, I mean, testing, we're there. We're at, like, how do we integrate and launch? Is there any progress on creating alpha and beta Soulkeep packs? So I still like this idea. I'm still trying to figure out if that's something that we can get done. There's meetings about that either this or next week. I'm gonna see if we can do it. If not, the alphas are going to be around, at least 6 months after game launches. But I am working on getting those to be beta, and we'll see if that can fly, or if that's gonna cause major problems. I don't think we should delay the launch. But my goal, my hope and my goal is to get alpha beta split like we did before. I thought it was a good suggestion, but until we kind of scope it out and know just how big that is, I can't promise that's what we're going to do. Reward cards. Players are under the impression cards from rewards have been reduced after the soulbounds initially introduced. If there are any changes, can we know the new percentages and what exactly was tweaked? I don't think that's true. Can anybody on the call answer that?
I'm not aware of any changes myself. I mean, I think this could just be a case of observer bias, meaning that if you happen to be having an unlucky streak due to the RNG, you could be reading more into that than there actually is, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know of anything. I think that, like he was saying, I think that's how you feel, not based off of math. Feedback in general. Does the team feel any increased urgency at the moment as many prominent players are exiting or massively reducing their stake in the game? I mean, the Splinterlands world is burning, and I don't feel any kind of urgency from the team right now. Yeah, we don't typically react just to the markets. We try to do the things that we think are in the best long-term interest of the game. Yes, there are accounts that are selling, but that's what happens in bear markets. My ultimate goal is to make them regret that decision as much as humanly possible later. And I think that there are a fair number of examples that have bought a lot of cards, panic sold at the bottom, and then come back a year later to buy their cards back and find that they have paid significantly more. So, but this is actually one of the advantages of this game, that you own these things and you can sell them. So at bear markets, that can be terrifying, and lots of people sell and they want to get in front of the selling so that they can push price down and buy back later and things like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't think the world is burning. I don't think the game is ending. I don't think that crypto is over. People rotate in and out of assets. They're rotating out of NFTs, but it won't be indefinitely before they rotate back in. And the people that are not still in the game are going to miss out on massive opportunities. So that's the trade-off. These people get to make their own decisions, and there's urgency in the company to get good product updates out, but there's not urgency in the company to suddenly switch whatever we're working on or do something radical because one person sold off. That's not the company that we are or how we operate.
Yeah, I think I would also add that there is urgency. I'm not sure how we have not communicated that there's urgency, but it's a matter of we we can't we can't force things to go faster, right? Like we not only have certain resources that we're able to use, but the other thing too is that stuff literally just takes time. Like like you said, you can't get 9 women pregnant for 1 month. Like it's a matter of, okay, we still have to do the things that we've committed to do. We're after the layoffs from last year, we're attempting to do more with even a smaller team in a shorter period of time. So everything is at a 10. And if you're not getting that there's no urgency, I don't know how else to communicate that to you, because there is an urgency. It's not panic, right? Like there's a huge difference between panic and urgency, I believe.
Yeah. Again, to me, this is really like, how many cycles have you been here? I mean, I've been here since 2016. So that's like 7 years in this space. So for me, I'm fairly confident markets come and go, cycles come and go. This was an exceptionally long and shitty bear market. I peg it all the way back to April of 2021. We had like a little bit of extra enthusiasm in November, but basically we've been in a downturn since April of 2021. That's an extra long, extra crappy bear market. But these things are cyclical, and the current news cycle is BlackRock is doing an ETF, Fidelity is doing an ETF and looking to go purchase Grayscale, and the the International Monetary Fund is looking at how they're going to tokenize things. I mean, the market price might currently be low, but if I'm looking at the news is like astonishingly large. So I've been in these cycles before. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not panicking. The people that are panicking will probably regret that later. And that, you need to be a cold-blooded bastard to go survive in the crypto and NFT game. So, you are welcome to sell. You are welcome to panic sell. That has not worked out for many players in the history of me watching them. You might be a genius and you might be predicting that all of crypto and all of NFT and Splinterlands and everything is about to die. Maybe that is a genius move. That's not the tea leaves that I read, but you guys get to make your own decisions. Even what I'd consider bad decisions. So good luck. And of course, I don't know you or your personal financials, and I don't know what these people are going through. So it's impossible for me to tell them what they can or can't do. I'm just reading big picture news items that are like headline news in crypto and saying, my God, the largest institutions, like financial institutions in the world, are moving into crypto now. They have been sort of quietly positioning themselves for a while, but now it's going like mainstream and public. Literally, like BlackRock is an $11 trillion dollar. They have $11 trillion of assets under management. It's the single largest like financial institution in the world, and they're coming for a Bitcoin ETF. I mean, if you're saying other people are welcome to look at that and say, "Oh, that's bad," I look at that and say, "My God, the things that are out in front of us are absolutely astounding." So no, I am not panicked. I am just trying to get stuff out. You know, I grew up on the Jersey Shore and I did a lot of body surfing. And if you want to catch a wave, you don't like, you know, sit there still, get to the top of the wave and then start pedaling. You have to get in front of the wave. So the water starts rising. You look behind you, you see this wave, you start paddling in front of it so that you can ride the whole thing down. So that's what we do. We try to get out in front of these things. We try to make sure that our business is ready, that we have good economics, good community, and good gameplay, that the game is fun, that we have this entire ecosystem ready so that when the wave hits, we're not being like, hey, we should do something about this, but we are like literally going down that wave at a breakneck speed and just enjoying the ride. Feedback: Alpha Gold Foil tournaments are rewarding too much to too few players and is not available to the wide public. Not even cards to rent. Well, Splinterlands stopped creating tournaments with disproportionate high rewards for older specific editions by its own initiative, or is this a proposal needed to do so?
We plan on addressing this with some of the tournament updates we're making in this current age, and one of the big things that we're waiting to see as sort of data is their usage on land. How many cards are actually going to be even available because of land? But yeah, we plan on making changes. I don't think that it needs to be a proposal.
Could you consider not having it to be mandatory to buy guild points or DEC, DECB, and make it possible just to donate directly with it? It ends up being a bit daft unless it's a legal requirement.
All right, so this one, first of all, it's guild power, not guild points. I'll just remind everyone again. So I think the idea behind this question is, why have guild power at all, and why not just directly contribute DEC and DECB like we have been doing up until now? So this person's probably thinking, guild power just adds a new layer of indirection. Well, the real reason for doing this is because we introduced the mechanism of being able to get back 90% of your guild power when you leave the guild. That would not be possible if we kept the contributions in terms of DEC and DECB, because once DEC is contributed, we don't want that ever re-entering circulation again and re-contributing to DEC inflation again. So by turning it into guild power, that allows us to give that guild power back when you leave without having any DEC go back into circulation. So that's kind of the idea behind that.
And one thing to keep in mind is that, like, you're probably not doing this guild point DEC thing very often. So, like, you know, if this was like a daily thing you'd have to do, I'd probably end up agreeing with you. But this is probably like every couple months, or maybe if it's a new guild, it's once a month that you really have to contribute this stuff. But yeah, I don't see that being like a really frequent thing that people have to do. So if we make you click one extra time to help preserve, you know, a lot of money and allow you to take it with you, that seems like a minor inconvenience for a pretty massive financial gain. So I hear you. It's probably, there might be better ways to do it, but there might be faster ways to do it, but I don't think that they financially make as much sense. Could you guys please consider an option to release a guild token, meaning an NFT that represents guild ownership, so it can be shared among guild members and gives true ownership? What do you guys think about this, Mancer and Weirdbeard?
So I personally think that tokenizing guilds and turning them into NFTs is an awesome idea. I mean, I would love to see that myself, but it's a matter of priorities. Doing that would be an immense project, to put it simply. And I just can't see us being able to fit into something like that anytime soon when measured up against all the other priorities and all the other commitments that we have to get through. But I do love the idea, and I think it's something that we should keep on the back burner, and maybe we can consider it at some future date.
Weirdbeard, anything different to add?
Not really. Again, there's plenty that we want to do. There are only so many hands and only a certain amount of time that we have to do those things.
Yeah. I would say I'm a big fan of this and would like to see guilds be an NFT and something that you can own. So, we'll get it in there. We'll make this thing happen. It's just a matter of when, and we got to figure out how much can we get cranked through. And I don't know. It's not the next thing that we're going to work on. There are ways that you can function without this. So it'd be like this is a really, really nice to have, but I don't think it's absolutely essential right now. So, and we focus on the things that are essential as our next stuff. But that is, and this is the one time so far tonight that somebody referenced it correctly the first time. Since the guild has guild power and merits, could a similar mechanism be added to tournaments? Tournament points can be used to redeem special card packs, similar to Pokemon trading card game, official arena reward card packs. Only 3,000 to 5,000 packs every 6 months, so the total quantity is very scarce, and the value of a certain card is worth even more than the $100,000. I mean,
add it to the list.
Yeah. My generally, like, if you ask, can we do something? It's code. You can do basically anything with code. So yes, we could do this. The question is that what we want to do next? Is that the highest priority? If we look at this entire economy and game is like, hey, we don't have tournament points. Is that the thing that we really need as the next big win for the company? I think this is a cool project. I think this is a nice to have. I don't think it's essential. So maybe we'll add that to the list and figure it out. But I don't know. We got work. We got other things that are higher priority than that. Okay. I didn't leave as much time for questions as I wanted. But it is now 10 minutes of 10. So let's go open this up to general questions. It's a small audience tonight. So I don't think we're going to have too many questions that we got to pound through. Dave McCoy leading the pack. Considering the DAO voted to have a modern versus modern ranked play mode, will you support that vote? Or is it possible that your own opinion as a CEO will override the decision of the DAO? The question is important to many people on both sides of the issue. I mean, we're implementing this, Dave. It's not have a modern versus modern ranked play mode. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Is this different than the bot thing? Did I miss something here?
No, I think he's saying we're for sure putting out bot elimination stuff in modern so that it is a human league. Oh,
on these things. Yeah, sorry, I cut out for a second. I mean, we're actively working on it. So, I work for the DAO. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. The company has, I have two masters, right? I have the board of this company and I have the DAO. And, it is my goal to make this community, economy, gameplay, freaking ecosystem as awesome, fun, and massive as humanly possible. And the two groups of people that I am responsible to are the DAO and the board. And I gotta weigh those things and I gotta work on it. But if the players come together and say, hey, it's really important that we do something, and I don't see it as like a direct conflict to the business, like, hey, it's really important that we I don't know, do something really dumb and harmful to the business to help the DAO. All right, well, I'm not going to support that, but anything where the majority of stakeholders get together, whether it's you got to understand that what the DAO can literally do, and it's weird because it's not live yet. the DAO votes are ultimately going to be more or less taken over by the community witnesses, and the witnesses are going to run different parts of the financial infrastructure of the game. So like there's going to be some pretty clear delineation on what is owned by the DAO and what is not, because if it fits in the validator, that is actually a witness question, and that is actually a DAO question. What is actually going to happen here, and how do you financialize it? That belongs with the DAO. When you start getting into like gameplay things, you know, the DAO is not the owner of Splinterlands. You know, I'm not the CEO of the DAO, and the DAO is not CEO over here. But like, you know, the DAO represents all the people that own, you know, stake and governance in this game. So like, if you guys come to me and say, hey, as a community, this is really important to us, as long as it doesn't hurt the game, I'm going to like that's not really how I think. I think that's a funny pun, but like, I work for this community. I'm a servant king to this group, and I do everything I can to try to help this community get the things that are important to them, and simultaneously help the business be able to function. And you know, like, some of the topics tonight are that, like, hey, creative is a bottleneck. I would really like to hire more creative people so that that's not a bottleneck. But you know, that we got to be in a better position financially to be able to do that. So what are the things that we can do with the people that we have to go crank this out as much as we can? And so there are things that I got to do as CEO. There's things I got to do as servant to the DAO. But high level, there are things that are absolutely controlled by the DAO and the stakeholders, and it's basically like the financialization of the game, the like individual settings of this percent here and that percent there, and you know, it basically like parts of the white paper and how they're in the validator, that will be entirely up to the community, and not up to the company at all. But gameplay is up to us, and I'm gonna try to support you. I know that's a long answer, but hopefully that helps you, Dave. Mango Wombo is saying, if you could delegate tasks to the community of third party, what would they be? I mean, marketing is the biggest one. I tell you guys, I need everybody on social media talking about this game. Talk about the burn event, talk about SPS staking, talk about all these pieces. Like if we have, you know, tens of thousands of people, or you know, a big giant community, or you know, hundreds of thousands of people. I don't know what we have active right this second, but if I could ask the community for anything, it would be spread the word, tell your friends, and get people here. And you know, like, it's hard to do that when things have been in bear market land, but like I said, we're not going to be in bear market land forever. Question: I have a rental account that has cards I want to use for land 1.5. Will I be able to delegate those cards to my main account for land 1.5, or will I have to unlock them and move them to my main account? My understanding is that you can leave them in that secondary account, delegate them to your primary account, and work them on land. Have I misspoken there, Weirdbeard?
Nope, you're right.
Question: do you have enough money runway to stay in business for the next 12 months? Hard to decide to buy more when there's not transparency around this issue. Thank you. You know, I believe yes. There are scenarios where the answer is no. So like the challenge for us is that we keep a fair amount of our value in crypto. So when crypto prices go, it actually hits us in two ways. The first way is that the amount of money that we have in the bank goes down. You know, like our net value of what we own goes down, and our revenue goes down when these token prices go down. So there is a non-zero chance that that things get ugly, that we revisit 10,000, that you know, it really is a massive doom and gloom. Shit happens, and it's all terrible. And in those circumstances where things like get a lot worse and stay a lot worse, we may not have 12 months. That's not my current thinking. Like I said, the news that I'm seeing is BlackRock ETF, Fidelity ETF, International Monetary Fund, like the guys right before the Bank of International Settlements, like one of the biggest financial freaking things in the world, They're all moving towards crypto and crypto payments. TradFi looks like they are poised to buy the crap out of everything here. So that's where I think things are going to go. But if they don't, then we could be in trouble. If they do, then yeah, we have well more than 12 months to go. So, you know, that it's not meant to dodge. It's just that there's a lot of variables in your question. Under really shitty circumstances, the answer is no. In most circumstances, I think the answer is yes. Question: now that land, totems, etc., are all tradable in the non-card market, when will skins be added? Skins are part of like some cosmetic upgrade. I don't know that we'll get them in the next age, which goes from August to October. I think since land, it looks like it's going to be. I think SPS staking stuff is pushing back land a little, so it's probably going to be hard to get it in by October, but maybe by the end of December. I mean, we'll see. We'll have to look at the different priorities and what we think is kind of like the highest. But we've been working on skins and cosmetics and stuff like that for a while. So I don't know, maybe like a 30 to 30% chance it gets in by the end of the year, and I would say like a 80% chance it's in there next year.
I think maybe the question was intended to be for the non-card market specifically, not necessarily introducing new skins, but maybe the skins that currently exist.
Yeah, but I think that isn't that the same answer? I mean, Weirdbeard and Nate, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong there, or what your personal timelines are. But
No, you're right.
yeah,
I would be of the mindset that I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You be careful what you ask for. Like if people want skins on the non-card market, that implies that you can sell and trade them, which at first sounds great, but at the end of the day, it may not be so great. It just depends how those skins are going to be utilized in the future as rewards for what, and whether or not.
I mean, I think they should be trading.
I mean, there might be benefit to having them soul bound.
Oh, I cut up with it.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I mean, a mix of soul bound and marketable, I think, is good. Question: what is the point of not allowing guild donations for the first 7 days? It just interferes with onboarding. Answer? You want to answer that?
So the whole point of the guild probationary period, that 7-day period where you can't contribute to buildings or get benefits from buildings when you first join the guild, is basically to promote loyalty to a single specific guild and deter the idea of guild hopping. So you shouldn't really be trying to move around lots of times from guild to guild to guild to guild. There were some exploits that are possible by doing that, and this 7-day probationary period closes those exploits.
What about just participating in the guild brawl? Maybe not getting other benefits, but can you brawl in the first 7 days, or do you have to wait?
Yes, you can definitely brawl in the first 7 days, and you can still earn SPS from brawls. You just don't get the benefits of the buildings.
And what about donating? What about donating to the guild? Can you come in and donate to the guild right away, or do you have to wait?
You can still obtain guild power, but you have to wait 7 days before you can contribute any of that guild power to buildings.
Okay. And why do you have to wait 7 days before you can contribute guild power?
Again, to promote loyalty to the guild. So we don't want people to just be like popping into a guild, contributing some stuff, leaving again, going into another guild, going back and forth. We want people to kind of stay in their guilds for a longer period of time.
Yeah, it also allows somebody to not just show up for a single a single brawl and be able to boost, one building super high and then they're gone next week. Yeah. Like we want them to actually be a part of the guild and not just guild shopping, essentially.
That's the answer. We don't want you exploiting things. So if you stick around for a week, we don't consider it an exploit. If you're there, you boost something hard, you get some advantage and you leave, that feels like an exploit. So if you're participating for a week, that no longer feels exploitive. We reserve the right to change that over time, but we basically want people to, provide benefit for more than, one afternoon. Does Splinterlands have the chance to make something like Warcraft World Editor, Dota Workshop tools? People build the game using the card of Splinterlands easier with that. So again, we can do anything with code, and this is an incredibly talented team. The question is, what's next? I don't see that as the next thing that we do, but maybe there are additional things that we do, either with third-party partners or other things that make that fun. Question: are we ready if the wave hits this summer or fall? I mean, to me, the three biggest things, in particular for Splinterlands, that we have to get out to really fully maximize the next wave, you have to get the ability for SPS to burn SPS to get DEC, and that's done. The second thing that we need is staking SPS, and we got to absorb all the SPS in the market because everybody wants to maximize how much they can get. And I'm not going to say that that's done but it's like it's imminent. And I know imminent doesn't mean tomorrow to you guys, but on a development scale, I don't know, early July is pretty damn close, guys. So SPS staking is basically here. The third thing I think we need is land 1.5. And we have to get DEC and we have to get land off the table. So you need burning SPS to DEC. You need SPS staking, which also needs a rental market so that you're not asking new players to buy everything. That delegation is fine, and that makes it inexpensive. And then lastly, you need land, the land 1.5. So I am sometimes foolishly bullish, and I am back in that zone of thinking things are crazy underpriced and the market is about to go nuts. I don't have a crystal ball and I can't tell you for sure that's going to happen. But that's what I think we have to gear up for, is make sure that everything is in place for the next cycle. And those are the three things we need. And some of them are done, some of them are imminent, and some still need a little bit of time. Separately, those are the main ones. The other ones are tower defense and having new gameplay. And I would put that in the category of imminent as well. And goals and getting that game out. And I would say that's a little, I don't know what is slightly longer than imminent, but that is like hopefully in this age, which ends August 2nd. So maybe that's imminent too. It's pretty close of whether it counts or not, but I don't know. It's within, I think it's going to be within this age. So those are all the things that we need to get cranked out. Dave McCoy was accepting of my answer. Rainey's saying, can we please use a DAO for future of the company and use it to buy an island and we go from there? I mean, if the community wants to buy an island of that, then, let's go buy an island. That sounds awesome. Question: how about inactive unsurveyed land? We burn them on 4th of July. No, we're not going to burn other people's assets. That's not what we do. And hopefully that's the end here. Nachos. Question team, how's your blood pressure during land crunch time? Remember to breathe. I guess just in particular, Nate and Weirdbeard, do you guys want to share your stress level in life? How are you? Are you gonna make it to the end of land, or are you gonna, go ballistic before then?
I mean, for me, I'll make it. It's like I'm not dead yet. Unfortunately, I know quite a few people are going to be disappointed to hear that. I think, like I said, we sort of have to have blinders on. Our job is to deliver. So, delivering is happening one way or another. It's just at what cost to mental sanity are we able to do that? So just gonna keep doing it. I don't think anything changes for me. So stress levels there, but again, it's TBD and to be expected.
Nate, how you holding up?
Yeah, I think we're solid. I say that in, not that there's no stress at all, but it's the kind of stress that gets you up in the morning. It's the kind of stress that keeps you sharp, right? If everything was lackadaisical, just like then how do you improve? How do you grow? How do you get better? And And I think that after the layoffs, we as a company have, just become a sharper blade, not softer. So I think that, actions speak louder than words. I think we have been fulfilling that that philosophy, and I think people see that. So we just got to keep doing it.
Okay. Yeah, this is stressful. I'm not gonna lie, this is stressful. We've been in a bear market since April of 2021. This is longer than 2 years. That sucks. That's the longest bear market that I've been in since being in here since 2016. And bear markets are not fun to build in. Sometimes people on Twitter will be like, "It's fun and this is great." No, you're lying. It sucks. Like, it's kind of nice because you can kind of focus and you don't get hit with as many weird spammy requests and other nonsense. But I would much rather be in bull markets. It's way more fun. But that said, this is where we're at, and we just got to do the best that we can to go deliver on this. There was one other comment in here: isn't new player experience important too and critical? Yes, but Matt and I both believe that the core of this game at its foundational level is the economy, and we gotta make sure that the economy works. The three pieces most essential to the economy are SBS burning to DEC, getting SBS staking requirements, and then getting land 1.5 out. If you were to ask me what comes immediately after that, we have gameplay and new player experience are some of the highest things that are on that chart afterwards. So you shouldn't walk away being like, aggro doesn't care about the new player experience. No, of course I do. And we want that to be as good as possible. But, people play this game because it's a Web3 play to earn. It is both covering the economy and the gameplay. There's other places to go for games. There's other places to go for economy. There's other places to go for community. But if you want a game that is functional, that is fun, that has an amazing community and a sweet freaking economy, great. There's not a lot of options, and we're one of the only ones. So we got to play to our strength. That economy piece is what helps differentiate us. So that it doesn't mean it's not important. It just means that it's the second thing on my priority list is like get the economy set, and then focus on gameplay and focus on making sure that new players are going to be okay. So that's what I got. And Fat Jimmy, I answered you. If the wave hits this summer or fall, are we going to be ready as a game? So those are the three things that we got to get done. We got to get that. My main priorities is make sure that this economy is ready for the wave, and that means you got to get the burning complete, and that's done. You got to get SBS staking complete, and that's nearly done. And then you got to get land 1.5. And if we get all three of those things, this thing it has everything it needs to just go parabolic. So, does that mean it will? I don't know. It depends on what the community does, depends on what the economy does. But at least after that period, I'm not going to be looking to build tons of crazy economy things in. I'll feel like we really nailed down the pieces that we have. And then I get to focus on things that are a little bit more fun, like gameplay, and then essential, like getting new player experience in. Weird Beard, did I say anything weird? Does that seem to resonate with kind of the message that we're putting out, or the plans that we have?
Yeah, we live and die by our new player experience, and we're dying on it right now. But we need we have to finish the things that we're doing. We can't get over halfway to 3/4 of the way of things done and then be like, well, just kidding, we're gonna stop that now. We're deep into these larger projects, and I keep saying do one or two big things. We made the choice. We're doing land 1.5 and the CP for SBS staking swap first, and then once those are done, then we get to talk about gameplay modes. Then we get to talk about all this other stuff. I promise the work is being done on it, but it's just it's not a fruitful conversation to continue to have at this moment. Even though we are continuing to do planning for when that time is right in the background at the same time.
And maybe there might be some videos that come out.
Yeah, maybe we'll be able to do in the short term. There might be some tutorials and fun stuff too.
And some of that too is that we don't want to build it twice, right? So like battles aren't in vNext. So until battles are in vNext, it doesn't make a lot of sense to like build this whole tutorial system around something we're about to change. So, you know, we're finishing up the collection and the market screen in vNext. After that, I really think we got to finish up battles. And then after battles is done, we'll be ready because we won't have to code it twice anymore. So it's not that we're not doing anything. It's that whenever we get into things, there's always prerequisites that like don't show up when you first think we should build a new player experience. And then you get into it and you're like, oh crap, there's so much that we have to do first before you can do it. Otherwise, we have to build it like 2 or 3 times. And we don't want to do that because we have limited resources. So we always strive to build things the right way once rather than do a crappy job of it a couple times. So, you know, that's the philosophy here. And I wouldn't leave saying nothing's being done. We're getting the vNext done so that the battles are updated so that by the time that we actually build the new player experience, we only have to do it once. So that's not sexy. It's not exciting. It's back end code work that nobody sees. But then once it's done, then it actually like we can unleash the Kraken on that and show a different experience. All right, guys, we're late. I think that's it for tonight. I don't know. Thanks for being here. Thanks for working with us. Thanks for, you know, it's bear market. You guys are still here. And you know, one day there will be another bull market. And here's hoping that everybody that managed to make it through this experience with their choices, happy they stuck it out. And thanks everybody. Let's call it a night here. We'll see you in a week to go talk through community stuff, and then we'll give you an update in 2 weeks of when exactly we're going to do the next town hall, working around the schedule of the 4th of July weekend stuff. Thanks everybody. Night.
Chaos reigns and hope is lost. When your darkest days aren't saved by the dawn, we bring the light to help guide the way. We are with you. We are the Rift Watchers.